Gold Beach was on the right flank of the 2nd British Army and in the center of the 5 Normandy invasion beaches. The beach itself lies between the coastal villages of La Rivière in the east and La Hamel in the west. Because it was quite rocky and surrounded by steep cliffs, the German High Command deemed it highly unlikely that the Allies would attempt a landing there, but the coast was still well defended. In 1943, a powerful coastal battery was constructed between Gold and Omaha. The battery was located at Longues-sur-Mer and had a garrison of 184 soldiers, initially under the command of the German Navy. It included 4 naval guns with a range of 12 miles, as well as 3 20mm anti-aircraft guns. The Germans also converted vacation homes on the beach into defensive positions, and La Rivière was transformed into a fortress. More than 2,500 obstacles, including wooden stakes, metal tripods, mines, and large anti-tank obstacles, were placed on the beach. Many of these obstacles were placed on the high tide marker, as Rommel was expecting the Allies to land at high tide so the infantry would spend less time exposed on the beach. The British 50th Northumbrian Infantry Division, under the command of Major General Douglas Graham, was assigned to storm the beach. The division was mobilized in 1939 and served with distinction in France in 1940, North Africa, and Sicily. The beach was divided into sectors: Howe, Item, Jig, and King, which were subsequently divided into sectors Red and Green. Armored vehicles from the Westminster Dragoons and the 6th Assault Regiment Royal Engineers were meant to reach the shore before the first wave of infantry in order to clear up obstacles on the beach. The main objective of the 50th Infantry Division on D-Day were to link up with the Allied divisions landing at Juneau and Omaha, and to capture Bayeux and cut off the road to Caen, to make it difficult for the Germans to move reinforcements between the beaches. In the early hours of June 6, the Allied air forces bombed the coastal defenses and artillery batteries. An hour before the first landings were scheduled to begin, the coast was bombed once more by Force K, which consisted of 13 destroyers, 4 cruisers, and 1 gunboat. The battery in Longues-sur-Mer sprang into action and began shooting at the headquarters ship for Gold Beach, the HMS Bulolo. 2 of the guns narrowly missed it, which forced the ship to retreat out of range. HMS Ajax returned fire and successfully destroyed 3 guns. The 4th gun was damaged temporarily. The crews were able to repair it and resume fire in the afternoon. In the meantime, the Royal Engineers were en route to the coast. They were only able to clear away a few obstacles as the first wave of infantry approached the shore due to German snipers firing on them. 20 landing craft were damaged during the first wave, but the navigators followed their orders and stayed the course. As the landing craft were disembarking their troops, there was only a limited response from the Germans on shore. Virtually all of their strong points were damaged during the Air Force and Navy bombings. 2 fortified gun emplacements at La Hamel and La Rivière were only lightly damaged, as they were heavily reinforced with concrete. These positions had embrasures that permitted a wide range of enfilade fire on the beach. Other strong points in the immediate area were also lightly damaged and had to be individually assaulted as the day progressed. At Jig, the first wave of infantry arrived at 7:25 and immediately came under fire from the fortified 75mm gun at La Hamel that survived the bombing. The tanks that were supposed to arrive in advance of the infantry were delayed by rough seas and didn't arrive until 8. Many of the tanks got bogged down on the beach or were taken out by enemy fire. 2 companies of the 1st Battalion Hampshire Regiment landed very close to the strong point at La Hamel and had to fight their way through enemy garrisons to get off the beach. Attempts to flank La Hamel were made difficult by the surrounding machine gun placements, mines, and barbed wire. They soon captured strongpoint WN-36, but had to break off the attack when they turned west and came under heavy fire from strongpoint WN-37. The only other way to capture that strongpoint was to circle around and attack the emplacement from the rear, a process that took several hours. The troops began to have some success with the arrival of the 82nd Assault Squadron, but the fortified houses had to be taken one by one in house-to-house combat. The gun at the WN-37 was finally silenced at 4 p.m. when one of the tanks fired into the rear entrance of the casemate. Although La Hamel wasn't fully secured yet, Companies A and C proceeded west and took out strongpoint WN-38, where they captured 20 prisoners. D Company attacked WN-39 and the nearby radar station, capturing 30 more prisoners. The British were also halted at La Rivière, where infantry, tanks, and engineers arrived almost simultaneously. Units disembarking onto the beach immediately came under fire from the other fortified gun located there. The gun took out several tanks until it was hit by a tank of the Westminster Dragoons. Once the gun was destroyed, the 5th Battalion East Yorkshire Regiment pressed the attack and spent the rest of the morning clearing out the fortified houses in the village, at the loss of 90 men, including 6 officers. Meanwhile, a lone mine flail tank managed to clear a path from the beach upward toward Vers-sur-Mer. This route was used by the Green Howards, who cleared the remaining resistance in Vers-sur-Mer, and then advanced with the 5th Battalion southwest to Crépon, where roads led to the important targets of Bayeux and Cannes. Now, the only way to hold back the British at Gold Beach was with a counterattack. Combat Group Meyer, which was part of the 352nd Infantry Division, was stationed near Bayeux. The unit was trained to reach the beach quickly from Brazenville, but in the early hours of June 6, the 2,700 men of the group were sent to investigate the parachute drops behind Utah. They were recalled when dawn broke and the scope of the invasion became apparent. One battalion was ordered to reinforce Omaha, and the other 2 arrived east of Bayeux in the late afternoon, at which time they were met by elements of the 69th Brigade. The combat group was almost completely wiped out in the ensuing engagement. Meyer himself was also killed, and his detailed maps of German coastal emplacements fell into British hands. By the evening of June 6, the bridgehead at Gold was the strongest of the 5, despite the remaining German resistance pockets throughout the beachhead area. 24,970 troops had landed, along with 2,100 vehicles. The 50th Division had lost around 700 men. Total casualties from all units involved in operations at Gold were around 1,000 men, of which 350 were killed. German losses are unknown. At least 1,000 were taken prisoner. The British linked up with the Canadians at Juno Beach on D-Day, but were unable to link up with the American troops on the western flank. The 50th Division also reached the Bayeux-Cannes Road on the same day, and captured Bayeux itself on D-Day +1.